All right, I might as well get started. Hi, everybody, I'm Jim Coughlin. I'm not going to bore you with my background. If you haven't gone on LinkedIn and found out about me, I don't know what kind of recruiter you are. You got to be able to do that, right? This session's called Using Your Dashboard to Drive Profitability. So the first thing I'd like to ask everybody on this call to do is put in the chat window, what's on your dashboard? What is on your dashboard? Let me share with you, and you have a lot of dashboards. You have your computer dashboard of your ATS. You have the dashboard of your car. I have a friend, they actually have a dashboard on their refrigerator. There's like a computer on their refrigerator that tells them the temperature inside. They can even hit a screen that shows a video, looks inside their refrigerator. Their dashboard's on the refrigerator. So what is on your dashboard? Just type in, here's what's on my dashboard. You ready? I'll show you. Here's my PowerPoint, by the way. Check out that PowerPoint. Look at that PowerPoint. So here's what's on my dashboard. This is on the dashboard of my car. I have a speedometer, tells me how fast I'm going, but I don't know why I have that, because my wife tells me how fast. She goes, you're going too fast. No matter how fast I'm going, too fast. There's that. I have my fuel gauge, tells me when I'm going to need to fill up, and I have my temperature gauge. Tells me if the engine's getting too hot, especially if I'm going up a hill with the air conditioning on. Now, that's the dashboard in my car, but you have a dashboard that you drive your recruiting business with, your staffing business. If you're an owner, if you're a director of recruiting, if you're a recruiting manager, even if you're an individual recruiter, you have a dashboard, right? So type in right now, what is on your dashboard? I want to know what's on your dashboard. Okay, we're all live. Yay, thanks, Ian. So I want to know what's on your dashboard. And while you're typing in what's on your dashboard, I'm going to tell you a story about, it's a movie that Ron Howard directed and Tom Hanks starred in. It was called Apollo 13. Do you remember that movie? I remember when Apollo 13 actually happened. I was like 11 years old. Very exciting. If you don't know the story about this movie, by the way, put in what's on your dashboard in the chat window. What's in your dashboard? Number of job orders, number of submittals, number of interviews. Put in what's on your dashboard. I want to look at that. So this movie, let me get back to the movie. Apollo 13 is about the 3 astronauts that were going to the moon on the Apollo 13, and something happened. Now, if you remember the movie, they're halfway to the moon. By the way, you know how long it takes to get to the moon in a rocket ship going 16,000 miles an hour? It takes 4 flipping days, 6 hours and 45 minutes. It takes a long time to get to the moon. So they're cruising along to the moon, and they're about halfway there. They're about 2 days out. And all of a sudden, there's a short in their little rocket ship that sets off a fire in an oxygen tank, and boom, and it blows up. And they feel an explosion, and they rock in the ship like that, right? And then all of a sudden, on the Apollo 13, the dashboard starts to light up, and it starts to there's alarms going off and gauges going. And Tom Hanks, who's playing the role of the commander of the Apollo 13, Jim Lovell, gets on the radio and says what? Houston, we have a problem. You all know that, right? We have a problem. And the gauges are going like crazy. His dashboard on the Apollo 13 is going ape nuts. And of course, down in Houston at Mission Control, every one of the technicians' dashboards is going wrong. And they immediately realize the first decision they have to make, this is key to this whole session of how you're going to use your dashboard to drive profitability. The first decision they make is they have to save the astronauts, right? And the most important thing to saving the astronauts is they got to make sure they can breathe, and oxygen's leaking out of the tank, right? It's leaking out. So what they immediately do, even though there's all these lights going off on the dashboard, their dashboard is going crazy. The first thing they do is they go over from the command module to the lunar module, the LEM, the lunar excursion module. They crawl into that, and they make that their life raft, and they seal off the command module. So now they have oxygen. And then they start looking at the dashboard in the LEM. And they realize the LEM is only designed for 2 guys, but they got 3 guys in it, and they're sucking up all the oxygen and blowing out carbon dioxide. And now their dashboard says our carbon dioxide levels are going up. We're going to have to do something about that. And they redesign these scrubbers. Great movie. Anyway, throughout the entire movie, It's all about, what does the dashboard say? What decisions do I make based upon that? And what actions do I need to take? Now, I take a breath. I want to know what's in your dashboard. What's in your dashboard on your running your staffing firm, running your recruiting desk, running your business. Now, I told you what's on my dashboard in my car, my speedometer, my fuel gauge, and my temp. Now, there's other things on my dashboard. There's my GPS, but usually I know where I'm going, so I don't need to look at that. There's my radio dial, but I usually don't need to look at that because I plug in my iPhone in the aux thing and I can just say, Siri, play Neil Young, because I like listening to Neil Young and it plays. So I don't need to look at that because I don't need to make a decision. So with your dashboard, whatever's on your dashboard, open jobs, numbers submittals, interviews scheduled, placements made, hours billed, average markup, whatever your dashboard is telling you, the only reason you're looking at it is, and here's my next slide, is you're asking yourself these questions. Number one, what does it tell me? So I'm going to go back to this, and again, I don't need to look at my speedometer when I drive because my wife is always going, you're going too fast. But the only reason I'm looking at my speedometer is to see if I'm breaking the speed limit. I need to slow down because I don't want to get busted. I'm making a decision and taking an action. The only reason I look at my fuel gauge is to make a decision. Do I need to start thinking about where a gas station is to stop and fill up, or can I keep going? The only reason I look at that temp gauge is, do I need to turn the air conditioning off when I'm going up the hill? I make a decision and take an action. So when you look at your staffing dashboard, and I'll show you my staffing dashboard here right now, okay? I'm going to do three things when I look at it. I'm going to say, what does it tell me? What decisions do I make based upon what it tells me? And what actions do I take based upon that decision? This is really important. I know it seems simple, but simple is what's powerful, right? Especially if you can follow it all the time. Now, here's something else. If I'm not willing to make a decision and take action on what the dashboard is telling me, I don't look at it. I get rid of it. So many people, by the way, I counsel people all the time on it, counsel companies. I'm working with several companies right now, staffing firms. They're showing me their dashboard and I go, good, what does that tell you? And what are you doing about that? Oh, we just like to know how we did last week. We like to know that we had 500 job orders come in last week and we had 50 starts. I go, oh, great, that's good. But what does that tell you to do? Well, they don't know. So look, here's my staffing dashboard. You ready? There's 10 things on my staffing dashboard. By the way, in case you haven't read my background on LinkedIn, I've started and sold 3 staffing firms. I've consulted over 10,000 recruiters. I consult with staffing firms all the time. This is what I do, okay? So I'm not going to bore you with, I grew up in the staffing firm in 1979, which is when I started. Look, here's what's in my recruiting. If I'm going to run a recruiting organization, a staffing firm, okay, I'm the owner of it or the general manager, or I'm running a branch, a recruiting desk, this is my staffing dashboard. Now you can add other things. I'll show it again. And you say, wait, Jim, you took it down too fast. Hold on, I gotta get a drink. It's not beer, it's La Croix. You had this stuff, it's good. So here's what's on my staffing dashboard. On one side are my sales opportunities, which is simply how many open jobs do I have for the whole company? How many interviews are scheduled against those open jobs, and how many offers out? Now, I know you could put, and I'll just put it here so you only look at that. I know you could put a lot of things on your dashboard. You could put, the number of submittals against those interviews, how many placements we made, how many are phone interviews versus, Zoom interviews versus, second and third interviews, right? How many are technical orders versus clerical? That's fine. You can do that. But I'm looking at 3 things: open jobs, interviews, offers. Now, I have, when I'm looking at my dashboard, like when I'm looking at my car dashboard, I have tolerances. In other words, I'm not going to drive my Honda Accord 190 miles an hour, but I'm certainly not going to go 30 miles an hour on a 45. I want to push that thing to the limit. And so when I'm running my staffing desk, I know I want a minimum of X number of open orders. I want a minimum of X number of interviews against that. And I want a minimum of X number of offers against that. I set my tolerances so that when I look at my dashboard, if they're outside of my tolerances, I'm going to make a decision and take action. So let me give you an example. So if, let's say, my open job orders, I'm like running 100 new openings a day. I've got 100 open job orders at any given time. Maybe I'm getting 70 a day and I'm submitting on them and they're interviewing, they're closing out, whatever. I'm looking to have 100 open job orders a day that I can sick my recruiters on. If it's 80 or less, all of a sudden I'm going too slow. I make a decision. I've got to get job orders. Once that decision is made, what are the 5 actions I can do to get that? So and I'll drill into this a little bit. We got some time. I'm going to go, what are the 5 actions I can do to get more job orders? I can call the clients and say, I need more job orders. I can market different types of candidates that maybe they haven't hired from me before. I can go out and get new business, right? If I don't have the interviews scheduled that I want, if I want a ratio of 5 to 1 for every 5 submittals I make on a job, I want to see an interview, right? Especially if I'm working in an MSP, VMS market, but maybe, you have lower submittal to interview ratio on retail accounts. If it's a retail account and I'm the only staffing firm on it, I'm going to get an interview on every 2 people I present. I present 2, you like that one, you don't like that one, fine, let's interview this one, right? So I'm looking at my tolerances. If anything's outside of my tolerance, I make a decision to do something, and then I have a corresponding action, at least 5 of them. So here's what's on the rest of my dashboard. Let's say my open job orders, they went from 100 and all of a sudden they're at 150. I now have to make a decision to be able to service that influx and that push, that wave of new job orders. I might need to increase my number of recruiters, because my number of recruiters is my production cost, right? So this is, and there's a ratio and a relationship between these two. People are going to ask me, what is it? What should it be? Look, when people ask a Major League Baseball player, what should my average batting average be? Well, the best in the world was Ted Williams. It was over 400 one year. But most, Major League Baseball players bat 250, which means they get a hit every 1 time at 4 bats. They go to bat 4 times, they get 1 hit. 4 times a bat, 1 hit. If you can get a hit at 3 times a bat, you're amazing. But there's other aspects to playing baseball, right? Catching, fielding, throwing, that I'm okay if you have less of a batting average. So the point I'm trying to make is, whatever your stats are, they should be better, which means you have to know what your averages are right now. So I'm always looking at this relationship between what are my open job orders and what are my number of recruiters, because I don't want to have too many recruiters laying around and not enough job orders. I'll either let go of the recruiters or get more job orders. So these two are very well correlated together. This is my production capacity. So this dashboard tells me, if my job orders go down, 1 of 2 things need to happen. I either need to cut production capacity or get more job orders. And if I want to get more job orders, what are the 5 things I'm going to do to get that? If I have too many recruiters, what are the 5 things I'm going to do to get rid of the recruiters or to get other job orders for them? Making sense? So anything that's on my dashboard, I'm going to make a decision and take action, or I don't look at it. If it's something I can't make a decision on, why do I want to look at it? So let's look at the other side of the equation. So I'm going to move my PowerPoint over to the other side, right? So the other thing I'm looking at on my dashboard, and you could have your own dashboard. These are the 10 things that Jim Coughlin looks at when he runs any staffing firm. When I walk into a staffing firm, if I look at these 10 things, I know exactly the health of the company. I know exactly whether they're heavy on recruiters and not enough on clients, whether they can turn the ratios they need to turn. These 10 things tell me everything. Billable hours. What's my billable hours? I never want that to drop. If that's starting to drop, I immediately make a decision to take action. I immediately see, did my number of contractors end? Why did those hours drop? Was there a holiday in there? What do I need to do to get the hours back up? Do people need to get extended on assignment? Did somebody not show up for work? right? Billable hours tell me everything. Average bill rate and margin tell me if I'm making the money I want. Those are the tolerances. And then the last thing is my total hours, total billing, and number of contractors. These are the 10 things that when I run a staffing firm are always up and always tell me what to do. This is my opportunity to sell. This is what's the result of my sales. Okay, so there's my PowerPoint. Take a screenshot of that. Click, see it? Open orders, interviews scheduled, offers out, number of recruiters to produce on that, and then billable hours, average bill rate, average margin. I want that to go up in both areas. Total hours, total billing, number of contractors. Now, look, here's the point. Here's the point. What does the dashboard tell me? What is it telling me? So think about Tom Hanks as Lieutenant Commander Jim Lovell in Apollo 13. He's got all these gauges on. And there's one point in the show, if you watch that show, Apollo 13, where the alarm's going, and Kevin Bacon's there, right? And he says, turn that thing off. I don't need to look at that or listen to that. I already know we're in a problem. He's narrowing his focus to the most critical things to his mission. The most critical things to your mission as a recruiting owner, staffing owner, recruiter is what is my lifeblood, which was the oxygen in Apollo 13. For you as the recruiting manager, it's your open job orders. It's your requirements from the client. If you don't have job orders, you're dead. You're choking off. You're going to die. Got to have job orders, and you got to be able to produce on them. And the only thing I want to look at is what's critical to the mission. What does that gauge tell me? What decision do I make on it? And what are the actions I can take to impact that decision? All right. So let me go a little further. Yeah, here it is again. What does it tell me? What decisions do I make? What actions do I take? So decisions and actions are different, right? The decision is, oh, I need to get more job orders, or I need to let go of recruiters, or I need to increase our markup, or I need to work on higher paying jobs and not light industrial stuff that's got high risk. Okay, so here's my other handy dandy PowerPoint slide. The dashboard message. The dashboard gives you a message. You make a decision, you can take an action. Otherwise, you don't look at it. And when the dashboard says, whatever, here's what you want to do. Whatever was on your dashboard. So you might have job orders on your dashboard, interviews, submittals, number of placements, number of starts, whatever's on your dashboard. You want to have a decision tree, an algorithm, an AI flow chart. And it looks as simple as this. Isn't this great that I got this stuff? If the dashboard says XYZ, then the decision is to ABC, fill in the blank. If the dashboard says I'm going too fast, the decision is I need to slow down. The action is take my foot off the gas, put my foot on the brake, or both. Okay. If the dashboard says I'm going too slow, the decision is I need to speed up. The action is put my foot on the gas, take my foot off the brake. Okay. If the dashboard says XYZ, if the dashboard says my job orders are dropping, the decision is one of two in my mind. I need more job orders or I need to get rid of recruiters. Then the actions are, and you list at least 5 actions you can take based upon any decision you would arrive at based upon what the dashboard told you. I'll say that again. You, I'll point right to the camera. You, staffing owner, director of recruiting, recruiter, individual production person, whoever, the person managing a company, if your for every indicator on your dashboard that moves out of the tolerance level, what are you going to tolerate, right? Out of the tolerance level, either too much or too little, what decision would come from that? And what, based upon each decision, there might be two decisions. There might be if this, then that, right? If this, then. What are the 5 actions you would take right away? Because here's the worst thing that happens. A recruiting manager and owner looks at the dashboard. They go, yeah, our job orders are going to done. We better get some new business here. I don't know what we're going to do. How are we going to? And they don't have a plan. They don't have the contingency plan. See, I'm going to go back to Apollo 13. Apollo 13 is the quintessential moment of American engineering and ingenuity. 3 guys in a tin can halfway to the moon are losing oxygen, and somehow they made a decision based upon all the information the dashboard was coming and taking actions on those decisions to keep themselves alive. Not only keep themselves alive, keep going to the moon. They didn't turn the thing around and come back. They keep going to the moon. They used the moon's gravity to swing them around and take back. So they took a free ride. They kind of mooched off of Isaac Newton. And then as they were coming back, they realized they were off course, and they had to use the landing rockets of the LEM to readjust their flight pattern so they wouldn't burn up when they came into the atmosphere. It's amazing. And it was all because they had contingency plans, and they actually made some up about what are we going to do based upon the dashboards telling us this. We're off course. We're going to go right by the Earth, or we're going to skip off the atmosphere and not be able to go in, or we're going to burn up. We got to make a decision. Do we just kiss it off and start saying Hail Marys? Do we adjust our flight pattern? How do we adjust our flight pattern? What can we use? What are the outcomes of that? So your dashboard shouldn't be a look in the rear view mirror. It should be telling you what's happening now so you can make a decision and take action to impact the what's happening on that dashboard, right? So I think I want to see if we got any chats. I can't see if we have any chat window here. Let me see. We got some people in the session. We got hey Jennifer. We got 2 Jennifers and Paul here. So and I got a couple of people on the call here. So that's the presentation. So now your question is, what should be on my dashboard, right? What should I have on my dashboard? What's important? And what's important is whatever's going to drive your end mission goal. If your end mission goal is, I want to have 100 new placements by the end of the month, I want to have 100 new placements by the end of the year, you work backward and say, well, to have placements, I got to have interviews. To have interviews, I need to have candidates submitted on jobs. To have candidates submitted on jobs, I need to have job orders. It all goes back to job orders. Where am I going to get the job orders? Where am I going to get the recruiters? What actions can I take? So I'm going to summarize this. And if there's no other questions, then that's it, right? We don't need to have an hour. It's just a breakout session. There's another breakout session on sales that Janine's doing. And I want to say a few things about Club VMSA. If you're not going to make a decision and take action on what the dashboard is telling you, get rid of the dashboard item. Don't have it there. If you're looking at data on your dashboard and you're not making any decision, not taking any action, get rid of it. If you are making a decision and taking action, document what that is so everybody knows. Hey, look, if job orders go down, I'm going to do one of 2 things. Get rid of recruiters, and the recruiters go, oh no. Or I'm going to go look for more job orders, or both. And if I'm going to look for job orders, here's the 5 ways I'm going to do it. If I'm going to get rid of recruiters, here's the 5 ways I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the lowest production people and give them their walking papers. Now, hey, clubvmsa.com, just like it sounds, clubvmsa.com, clubvmsa.com /WSS Gym, World Staffing Summit Gym. clubvmsa.com /WSS Gym. You can get $500 off of becoming a club member, where we give all sorts of information like that. Club VMSA, there's so much to it. You can just go in. I'm going to give the shameless plug for Club VMSA. I do executive coaching for owners and managers twice a month in a group setting. We do mastermind groups. I do individual coaching an hour at a time for people. I'm working with one company right now. We're taking them from 45 to 100 million in a year. They're well on their way in the first month. They're already increasing production more than double. And it's not that hard to do because you build the dashboard to tell you where you're going and how you're doing getting there. Okay. I don't know if you can you guys talk to me? I can't see the chat here. So I see some things coming on. If you have any chat questions, we got quite a few people on the call. If there's anything you want to say, if you want to schedule a meeting with me, I'm at jim@vmsexcel.com. clubvmsa.com/WSS Jim gives you $500 off of a annual membership at Club VMSA. We do video chats every day with owners of contingent workforce programs. It's great stuff. Okay. I also do Mastering the Art of Production, which is a 52-week session for recruiters and managers and account managers and owners on how to build your recruiting operation. All right. Go to the moon. Now, you may not be going to the moon, but hopefully you're shooting for the stars, right? It's kind of cute. So you may not be going to the moon. Hopefully you're shooting for the stars. Remember your dashboard. What does it tell me? What decisions do I make based upon that? And what are the actions I have to take? A decision is not an action. A decision is not an action. A decision is, yeah, I think we need to do something. That's a decision. But what you do is the action you take. So for every item on your dashboard, you should have 2 decisions. What happens if it goes below the tolerance? What happens if it goes above the tolerance? And for each one of those decisions, what are the 5 actions that you're going to take? Write that out. Your life will be amazing. Your production will go up. You won't be wasting time looking at stuff that you don't do anything with. I'm going to leave the meeting. We're done. If I can't say something that gives you value in 30 minutes, you don't want to listen to me. You don't want to listen to people moaning and groaning on, telling you, well, what I think you should do is no. Action. What does the dashboard tell me? What decision can I make in that? And what actions, what 5 actions can I take right now to make that change? Bring that back in my tolerance level. I'm Jim Coughlin, Club VMSA, clubvmsa.com/WSS Jim. Thanks for joining, everybody. Enjoy the conference. Enjoy the summit. See you later. Bye-bye.